welcome. On behalf of the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion team at Denver International Airport, we are very proud and pleased to present and welcome the AP students of Overland High School who are joining us today for this month's Cultural Heritage Speaker Series on Black History Month in our own words student panel. One of our very own, Talia Claiborne, who will be introducing herself most recently. Den is very happy to host this event, and now we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Umetsu, who can introduce your fabulous students.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yes, fabulous is one of many words I would use to describe this amazing panel of students that are in front of all of you today. Again, my name is Nathan Umetsu. I am the social studies teacher at Overland High School, and I am actually what we call a pilot teacher for the new program, AP African American Studies. And again, I told all of my students to not, again, mute their microphones and to, again, have their cameras showing their wonderful faces every single day. So again, I'll let them introduce themselves in alphabetical order. We're going to do it by first names, everyone. But again, before I have them do that, a little bit about me. Again, I've been teaching now going on 10 years. Again, I have had this wonderful opportunity to teach AP African American Studies to all these faces that you see on the camera right now. Again, it's been an amazing opportunity to do it the first year. Like I said, there's a lot of things I'm sure these six of individuals would say, we could definitely make some changes for sure. But again, we're very proud and very invested in the program. And I wanted to have them take the time to introduce themselves. So how about we go, again, first name first, and then we'll go around the table to let them introduce themselves, if that works with all of you.
That'd be great.
Not at all. I'll let this guy take it.
So my name is Eric. I'm a senior at Overland High School, and
we're getting some back noise here. Can everybody please make sure they're muted?
my name is Eric. I'm a senior at Overland High School, and yes, ma'am. Okay. I'm currently taking AP African American Studies. And I plan to major in mechanical engineering after high school, and I plan to go to like possibly CU Boulder or one of those other schools similar to that. And
That's good.
just find it.
Like I said, speak up a little bit louder.
Yeah.
Okay, my name's Hiop Tekle. I'm also a student at Overland High School. I've been here for all 4 years, and what I plan for my future is I'm going to continue my education at CCA and then transfer to Metro up until, with my major continuing into history. It's very influenced by this class, and I had a really big struggle last year understanding what I wanted to do in the future. And I feel like joining this class has elevated that 1000%, and now I genuinely feel like I'm set in stone.
Hi, my name is Rizwan Mohammed. I'm also a senior at Overland High School. I plan to major in animal science after high school, and I plan to go to CSU. I took AP African American Studies so I can expand my knowledge about Black history.
Hi there, my name is Busi Chimembe. I'm a senior at Overland High School, and the reason why I joined African American Studies was also to learn more about African culture and just being able to know more about Black Americans in a different aspect in life.
I'm Tayana Romero Hopkins. I'm also a senior here at Overland High School. I'm also a student athlete, and I plan to continue my education in criminal justice or political science, also at CSU. And I did also take this class to further my knowledge in Black history and just learn something that I haven't already heard.
Great. And my name is Talia Claiborne. I'm a youth apprentice at Denver International Airport in the Culture and Strategy Department. And I'm also a senior at Overland High School. I decided to take AP African American Studies because it's not a class that you normally see anywhere else. And despite being African American history, it's not taught in our normal history classes. And I just want to experience what it was like to be a part of something that's first in the nation, really. Thank you.
And thank you to Tulia before you begin, Professor Umetsu, Mr. Umetsu. Thank you to Tulia. She has been very valuable and instrumental in setting up this student panel today. So thank you to Tulia.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to take over, I guess, right now and just say, yeah, this is just a little bit of a sneak peek of what you all have to see today from this amazing group of students who, again, even though it's February, we are ready to be done and graduated and going to the next step in their life. They're here today to kind of spend this hour with you. So I feel like Talia and yourself over at DIA has prepared some questions. If you would like us to answer those now, we are more than happy to do so.
That'd be great. Thank you. Mr. Umetsu, do you want me to go ahead? I'll ask the first question. Is that okay?
Yes, you bet.
Then we'll just kind of round robin it, panelists, student panelists. You feel free to unmute yourself and answer. So can you tell us a little bit about the school, your current school, Overland, its student body, its faculty, and its mission? And does the current course that you're taking, the African American Studies course, align with other courses at Overland?
I'll start us off and then you guys can kind of tag off of me real quick, just because I know a little bit more about the student body, if that's okay with you and the kind of classes we offer, if that's all right. Should we go by alphabetical order again? Yeah. So again, if you guys didn't know about Overland High School's mission statement, we believe that here in this building, that we believe in strong relationships with our amazing students that you see present, with our colleagues, our parents, and our community members. Again, if you all did not know, we have a very diverse district here in Cherry Creek. We house more than 54,000 students. Again, and that's just in the district alone. But if you look at Overland and our wonderful panelists here today, we pride ourselves on being a very diverse school. Again, do we have a similar course to this one that we're taking right now? I don't know if these guys have ever taken it. It's called Ethnic Studies. So what is Ethnic Studies? It is laying the groundwork for what we talk about in AP African American Studies. It just does not go into the depth and the complexity that we do here in this course during our morning class together. So again, it is one of the more diverse high schools in Cherry Creek. I'm going to let these six, because they're in the classrooms, they're engaging with their peers, talk more about what they're seeing from their classrooms. But from a staff perspective, again, that is what we pride ourselves in, having a growth mindset, that we're always growing, we're always evolving, we're always learning here at Overland High School each and every day. So I will let my six, whoever wants, it doesn't have to be in alphabetical order, everyone, whoever just wants to unmute and they say, hey, I have an idea, I want to hear it, please, by all means. So I'm going to let these six take over.
So, in a way, it does align with some of the courses, like Mr. Umetsu said, like ethnic studies, but not all of it is aligned with it. See, African American Studies is a class that is well needed around everywhere so far, and going into this class, it was just everything felt so different because when we started from the bottom and now we're going all the way to the top. We've started from the roots of Africa. We started from so many kingdoms and queendoms formed in Africa. And I'm just, and like you said too, I think what you'll hear a lot is that our school is very, very diverse. And throughout this interview, you'll hear that constantly talking about how this class is going to help a lot of students. And I feel like since this is a pilot class, there are going to be way more students next year trying to take this class. I don't think a lot of people knew about this class coming into their junior year or sophomore year or senior year, in fact. But yes, this class has, it doesn't really align with some of the courses here, but in time, it will.
Yeah, and kind of hopping off of what Hiob said, I don't think it really aligns like that much, especially content-wise, because now we're actually learning more about like, what's it called, the truth behind and everything, just like learning more rather than just like half-truths and just like the surface level things. And I think that's one way it doesn't align, but otherwise it does align pretty well because it is taught in a similar way to like most honors courses. We're all able to like be together and be a community in our class and just learn from each other and learn with each other. And again, talking about the student body, like Overland is extremely diverse, one of, if not the most diverse in even all of Colorado. And it's really nice to have such like a diverse like student body to be around, because it makes me feel more included. And having this class includes more, I guess, just people in general, because it teaches you more about the history that wasn't taught earlier, that was excluded from our curriculum.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to.
Okay. I do want to go off what Hiyab and Eric said. It is definitely a very diverse school, and I think Overland prides itself being the most diverse school in the Cherry Creek School District. And just being around many different cultures and ethnicities, I think it really brings the school together. And I think that the class AP African American Studies allows different cultures to understand the background of Black history. I would say it does differ from history classes because we go beyond learning about MLK and Rosa Parks and the civil rights movement and slavery. And I think that in a lot of history classes, we're not taught that. We're taught basically what we've learned since elementary school. And I think this class is a great opportunities for kids to learn more about Black history.
I would like to piggyback off of what everyone's saying, but mainly what Rizwan was saying about the elementary school topic. I've learned a lot about the same people or for Black history or Black Americans over and over again. It's always, let's listen to the I Have a Dream speech by MLK, let's depict it, let's figure out what's going on. And I've been listening to that speech since I was like 7. So it's nice to be in a classroom where we're learning about people that you may not have heard of. Like I've never walked into the classroom and have been like, oh, I know that person. I know that person. I know that person. It's like, oh, I don't know this person. What can we learn about this person? Can we get a deep dive about this person? What happened in this time era? It's being able to actually learn something different for the first time in forever.
Adding on to like the student body in the facility, I think everyone here has like somebody that they can go to, a teacher, security, deans, or anything like that. I feel like everyone here fits in. Like if you came and just had a day at Overland's lunch, you can see that no one sits alone. There's always a section of people with groups with different styles, different ideas. It's always, we're just a mix, like just a mix that of multiple different people, but everyone fits in here.
Well, a few things. Again, my student panelists, you all did great. Like I said, this is why I chose these individuals here in front of you all today, because again, this is the level of expectations and commitment that we expect here at the school. So for all of you here present, thank you. I appreciate it. Awesome answers. I'm very proud of you all. Again, just speaking about a logistics standpoint, that again, I want to share with all of you, even the 6 of you in front of me right now. Did you guys know that many AP courses, especially those based in history and culture, they again deal with a variety of topics, a variety of different lenses involving critical thought and application of that thought. So again, you guys have all done very well diving into that. Where does our course differ? I don't know if you 6 have noticed or if you want to talk about it. We don't just study history, we study everything. We study the literature, we study the arts, we study political science, and then we use that as a discussion to go further into our analysis. We use that to guide our thinking, to promote more growth, to promote more learning, to guide our discussions. And I see that you guys who have taken AP classes before, this has been a well-developed skill you've been learning, but hopefully you've been gathering more information. I'm sure there's going to be another question about that later, about the type of lessons that we teach here in the lesson, and that was really stuck with you. However, again, if you guys have any other questions, I see some people are posting some things in the chat. Feel free to. And again, I can have myself or my panelists here, again, answer those questions for you at any time.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Umit. So I did want to ask, and you kind of tied that right into that. The next question then is, you're seniors and you have been taking AP classes. So, and you've kind of talked a little bit about how this course differs from the AP classes, but does the curriculum feel different? Is it more meaningful? I mean, you're one of only 60 high schools across the country that are piloting this AP course right now. And so you're what, 6 months in, 8 months into the course, your AP course, finishing it out. I just kind of want to know how it feels different for you. knowing that you're one of the first groups of students across the country to go through this course?
I'm going to definitely let them answer that question, and I'll fill in any gaps if they have anything I want to talk about more. However, again, if you guys didn't know, yes, congratulations. You're the only school in Colorado who is taking this course. So I know, congratulations, round of applause for all of you. Again, did you all know that we are expecting from College Board an additional 650 schools for the following school year? And again, you guys were the first in Colorado. So congratulations, everyone who is here at this table. I know the seniors, the class of 2023 setting the way. And yes, you guys again have proven that this is what more schools want to do across the country and the nation. I can't speak on the behalf. I'm not sure everyone in this meeting if we're going to have more schools in Colorado doing it. But going from 60 to 650 next year, that's a proud accomplishment, in my opinion. And I think these guys would echo the same, the ladies and gentlemen who are at the table. But what about you all? How about you all take over and explain what the question was asking again, being posed? How does this different from the curriculum? How does this stand out? What do you guys think about being the first school in Colorado to set the way for this course?
Okay. You're fine. So I'm just glad that I was able to take this course because as an apprentice and a high school student, my schedule obviously mixed a lot and it was hard to figure out what I wanted, but I knew that I wanted this class. And finding out that it was the only school or the only class in Colorado was unbelievable. To think that we got lucky enough to have it at this specific school is crazy to think about. And it really differs from other history classes I've taken because I've taken US history or AP history, AP world history, human geography, and we never go this in depth with it. And something that I brought up a few times that we're African Americans. We are Americans. We've built, basically, I feel we built the country up, but our history is never taught in these normal classes. As my classmates have brought up multiple times now, we learn all of this since elementary school, but we never go this deep. Like, I never knew that Africa had kings or queens. That's something I never knew about that I learned about in this class after being in school for 12 years. Why am I just now learning about it at the age of 18 when it should have been something that I learned about it at 5, even something as early as that? So, anyone else?
Okay, so sorry, I'm so sorry. So yes, it is completely different from all the history classes I've taken, and although I really do like all the history classes I've already taken from high school, middle school, even elementary, learning learning about the globe or stuff like this, it never felt completed for me. So when I was in those other classes, especially history classes, I felt so, I don't know if my peers can agree with this, I just felt so left out when it came to Black history because I felt like I was so passionate about it. I felt like I wanted so much more, but then I would look around and I'd see nobody else caring about it. So I would just kind of just look around and feel like I was a little bit different. But I knew that taking this class, it would be one of the best things I've ever done. And I'm so glad that I did take it because I'm seeing the growth of what happened. From the 60 to the 600 is crazy. I think that's amazing. Such a big milestone. And I love the idea of the future. I'm always thinking about the future. So from us taking it now, it compelled so many more students to want to take it too. Just learning about the cultures I've never learned about, like Talia said, talking about the king and queens of Africa and how dominant the queens of Africa were. And I was so proud of that because all throughout history that I've been taught recently, it's always Black suffrage. Black people are getting taken advantage of, but they never talk about the accomplishments of Black people. They never talk about the accomplishments of Africa. They always talk about the bad things. And I'm so happy that I was able to learn about this stuff before I graduated high school. So.
I just wanted to piggyback off what my classmates have said. I'm mainly talking a lot about how it's always the same information being repeated over and over again. my freshman year, I had a whole unit dedicated towards slavery, and it wasn't like any of the information was new to me. It was the same thing over and over again. And it got to the point where I was sick and tired of hearing it. It was like, oh, I'm learning about slavery again. What's different? What else am I learning here? What's different for me? And it kind of made me like give up on history. And I didn't feel like history class became like my least favorite subject because I just was learning the same thing over and over again. And being in African American studies, we didn't just dedicate a whole unit to slavery, and we weren't just talking about, the bad treatment that they received, just like the treatment of slavery. It was more of like, we're taking a different approach towards it. We started talking about how some families were separated from each other, how some families ran away, how they were able, like the methods that they took to stay together, the hardships that slavery had. It wasn't just a simple like, oh yeah, like they were whipped a lot and they may have been hung, but maybe their slave master was nice to them. Maybe they got a bed. Like it was, some teachers have kind of shown me that not all slave masters are bad. Like at least they gave them a bed, at least they gave them food. They had free time on Sundays. They had small little things that are just basic human things that they should have deserved. It's just basic rights. And I'm just so glad that we're able to learn this and that I've been put inside of this classroom and that I have all of these classmates who feel the exact same way as me about Black history.
Everything over?
Oh, I just wanted to excuse me. I just wanted to piggyback off what Lucy said about how before this class, I was like not interested in history at all because I've learned the same thing since elementary school. And I think that this class has really, it's been so meaningful to me because I've learned new things and I'm excited to learn more about Black history and things that I didn't know about. And so I think that's why I'm really grateful that Overland had the opportunity to pilot this class. And I'm excited that 600 more schools will be able to have this class and have the opportunity to learn more.
And
Yeah.
obviously being like the only school in Colorado to offer this course, I feel like extremely honored to have this opportunity to be able, even be able to take this course. So it makes me feel just, I feel happy and glad that I can actually take it and learn more about the history. And kind of hopping off of what Hiob said, like we're like finally able to learn more about like the accomplishments and everything that's good, rather than just like, oh yeah, Europeans came and colonized Africa and did this, did that, traded for this, traded for all of this, and then they brought them across to Americas through the transatlantic slave trade, and that's bad, and that's about it. They just glossed over it, and now we can actually learn more about like the horrors of like what happened and just in general, it's learning more about everything and doing with that. It kind of reinvigorated my passion for history because I really did enjoy history in middle school and learning about that. But as I got older, I really disliked history. I was never really a history person. Like I enjoyed it sometimes, but it just never felt like inviting and like intriguing to me. And having this class now, like I come into class every day. I am excited to learn, even if I'm like tired at all. It's the first period, it's first day or first period in the morning. So like it's really early. I'm tired, but I'm still like extremely excited to learn about like all these new things because we're now learning like about the truth and just more in general.
Well said, my panelists. Nicely done. Again, as always. So again, just to give you guys some more ego boosting, I guess, to all of you here. Nicely done. Again, did you know that these are all seniors who are attending this meeting, everyone? Again, they are graduating at the end of this year, but every single day, as all of my wonderful ladies and gentlemen have been saying, they come in with enthusiasm, ready to learn. Did you all know, by the way, that we had 8th grade parent night at the school? And with parent night, they announced this course, and everyone was asking, how can we sign up? How can we be like these 30 individuals, the 6 that you see in front of you? How can we be like them? And so we had 8th grade parents say, hey, where can I sign up for the course? I want to know immediately right now. So to the 30 of you, they gave you a standing applause for you all tackling this course. So again, it seems like you're echoing that we should continue the course, but I'm just kind of going off of what Hiob said earlier about how, again, students want to take the course. This is not something that we are forcing on any of them. This is not part of our curriculum. This is something that students have the option of taking. And 30 of them, and my 6 best here, have said yes. And I'm honored they have. I'm a very dedicated group, and I'm honored to work with them each and every day.
That is amazing. Thank you. This is very exciting as we continue on with our questions. But I did see, I'm going to pause, and we had a question from one of Talia's colleagues. Evan, do you want to come on camera and ask your question?
Oh, that was actually accidental, so no worries there.
Oh, okay. I was going to make sure. Okay, then we'll carry on. We've got a few more questions to ask these panelists. You've talked a little bit about some of the examples. So you're teaching us how history is a little bit more exciting to you. It's intriguing. And you've offered a few specific, but now we're going to kind of put you on the spot and say, can you give us some examples of the curriculum that have been particularly noteworthy, significant, or memorable to you? What have you learned that came as new information to you? I know some of you have talked about that just a little bit, but this is all new information for us. So if you could kind of continue to highlight that, that would be great.
Well, I'll give them some time to think, and I'll just reference some of my favorite examples. And then, like I said, if you guys are like, oh yeah, I actually did like that lesson or that idea, feel free to take over. So again, what is our curriculum in case everyone on the chat is wondering? We are starting in early African American empires. That is what a few of our panelists have said today. So that would be around the year 1200. Someone talked about the transatlantic slave trade. So again, it's talking about basically what happens after these African American empires. Another one of our panelists said, hey, I didn't know there were kings and queendoms here. Yeah, definitely. So we want to talk about the origins of African history. That's our first unit. Our second unit, we were talking more about, as we were talking earlier, transatlantic slave trade and the journey over to America. How about resistance when we are talking about Unit 2? Unit 2 was, again, with this journey being over, what are some forms of passive resistance or violent resistance that stood out to my 6 panelists here that you remember? Did those lessons stand out to you? How about as we go to Unit 3, we talked about the failure or the successes of Reconstruction and the amendments. Again, we did a little debate about that. I know some of my panelists are already shaking their heads and remembering that one. So again, if we look at Unit 3, we're talking about getting more into civil rights. So my 6 panelists, they don't know this. What is our 4th unit going to be? What happens after civil rights is over? How are we going to look into the modern century? And I know these 6 are getting interested already, thinking about getting more into after civil rights, because usually from any AP class, from any US history class, that is it. That's all we talk about. We just say, here's civil rights, here's Martin Luther King, here's Malcolm X. All right, moving on in history, we are done. So I know these 6 are going to be happy to hear more about getting more into modern history as we finish up. But I'll let these 6 take over. The question again for the 6 of you, what do you think? What has been our lesson has really stood out? Can you give any specific examples? I kind of gave a basic run view of our units, but maybe we're asking like, do you remember specific names, events, anything that stood out to you that you think would benefit others who are taking this course next year? And to everyone on the panel, yes, we are offering this course next year. Yes, we have a lot of excitement for it next year. Unfortunately, it looks like we don't have enough sections open, but hopefully that gave you 6 enough time. What has been your favorite lesson, your favorite idea, your favorite event that kind of stood out to you in a meaningful way?
I'll probably say for me, the civil rights, I've always been really interested in that, and I find that most memorable to me. And so we have a lot of surprising material in this class, things that could be disturbing, things that could be like new, surprising. But usually to me, something that always surprises me is when I see the ads made by usually white illustrators, such as like posters, cartoons, stuff like that. The way that people of color, Black people, Asians, Mexicans, Hispanic, all that are portrayed, it really surprises me because it's like, I don't want to say it's disgusting because it is disgusting, but it just surprises me each time, especially a picture was portrayed on one of our starters of a Haitian man, an Asian man, and I believe a Hispanic man. And everyone in the classroom thought that they were monsters. Like they thought that the people were monsters. We're looking at it like, what type of zombie, what type of thing is that? And Mr. Umeta cleared it up saying that this is a Haitian man, this is an Asian man, this is a Hispanic. And it really surprised me, and it shows me. And even after we were given equalness, the ads still continue. So you can still see how people portray us through how they draw us, how they
think about this. So I think that's really surprising to me each time I see an ad or cartoon, something like that.
Yes, anyone?
Yeah, sure. So I could go on and on about my favorite things about this class, and I have so many, but the one that stood out to me the most recently has been the story of Ida B. Wells, which is one of the recent things we've been talking about. And I love, because I'm always advocating for Black women, because that's the voice that you never hear. It's always, I feel like in history, when we talk about Black civil rights, it's always about men doing something. But how about the women who have contributed and done, I don't want to say so much more, but a lot too. And with her, her story about how she owned a newspaper and how she was writing about the lynching that happened not only in the South but in the North, and how everything went down with that, and how her newspaper and her building was burned down because of the white people back then who just disagreed with her. Her story was just amazing, and I felt like that was just such a strong woman, and her, and I could go on about so many things, but yeah, she's one of the main people that just really stood out to me, and how strong she was, which made other people strong, which made the people we hear about today strong, like Martin Luther King, like Rosa Parks, like so many other people. It's always piggybacking off of someone else because they see it and they want to do more. So that's what I love about Ida and so many other people that that have contributed to our history so far. I'm so excited to see the future of Black history as well.
Agreeing with what my classmates said, a kind of a, I don't want to say too far back. It was about last month. We did a Reconstruction era and if it was a success or a failure, and we had a debate about it. And I'm not gonna lie, I love debating with people, and I love not arguments. I just love having a debate. And talking about the Reconstruction era and whether it was a success or if it was a failure, one of my favorite units because I was able to express just how it's not a success for Black people, period. It wasn't just because the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment were made. That does not mean that Black people were, oh, great, we finally have freedom. Now we're finally free. We can do whatever we want. No. Jim Crow laws were made. There were so many restrictions made for Black people so that they weren't able to vote, so that they weren't able to go into a certain community or just a certain space. They couldn't gather together. They couldn't be seen with more than 3 people in one area. The Reconstruction era was honestly like the worst time period for, well, Black America. I mean, of course there was slavery, but still, Black Americans still had to face other hardships. So instead of just facing, oh, we just have to deal with slavery, now I've lost my family. I've lost my friends. I have nowhere to live. I can't be in a certain area. I have a group of white people that are out to kill me. I can't own a gun. I can't go to a certain area. I can't be welcomed in a certain shop. I can't drink from the same fountain. I can't work in the same area. There were so many things stopping them just from being able to live their own life. And it wasn't fair for them. And that was my favorite unit because I just loved the debate and I loved everything that we did in it.
I would say, going off of what Lucy said, yes, we still had the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment, but there were still laws in place to still hold us back, which many people don't realize, and I think we don't get taught that enough. And I think that that's one thing that was really implemented in this course that I really liked, because there were laws that wouldn't help us or wouldn't allow us to do certain things, even though some may say, but there was no more slavery. You had the right to vote, but there was still things that um, didn't allow us to do certain things.
And like hopping back off of what she said, like we weren't ever taught about those things. And I believe the saying goes like history is written by its leaders. And because of that, we kind of just knew just the bare minimum and just the surface level stuff. But then now having this class, we get to learn about a lot of things that weren't originally taught to us. Like my favorite unit was the first one, talking about like the older empires and civilizations and how they succeeded and how they were developing and like everything that they were able to do and everything they were able to succeed with. And learning about that was really exciting because now it's something actually new and something really important to the history of just the world in general. And I'm also extremely excited for our next unit, the fourth one, because well, it would be like the Renaissance and things like that, Renaissance. And I'm extremely excited to learn about that because it has a lot of effect on our lives right now because it's definitely much more recent and how we act and how just we interact with each other as a community. So I'm really excited to learn about that.
I just really wanted to add one more thing, but hopping off back to what Boosie said about the debate, what I loved so much about it is that yes, we did sometimes get off topic, but it just showed how much passion we had for this unit, for what we really wanted. I was just very happy about that, and I just thought that was just amazing. And I cannot, and it's just gonna be, I hope that's what it's like for the youth that come.
I want to go off what Eric said about our first unit about learning about the African empires. I would say that was my favorite unit because we got to see how successful Africa was before colonization, before slavery, and how different countries in Africa interacted with each other and the trade routes and just the different kingdoms and queendoms. And I think that that was a great insight and a great way to start before we got into what really happened and how slavery led up and what certain countries were colonized and where people went, and such as like we talked about like the Amistad. And so I think just like talking about key details before we get to just slavery and the civil rights movement is very important.
Sorry. I want to piggyback off of what Razan said. I think it was super important for us to start our unit off talking about the African kingdoms because it opens us to a light of not just like, oh, the only thing Black Americans really were in the past were slaves. But we finally got to see them in the light of they were royalty. My favorite two royalties were Queen Nzinga and Queen Nadia. I literally loved them. Just learning about them, it had me kind of, I'm gonna say enchanted. Just to, that sounds like, it sounds like, I don't know. I was so mesmerized by them because they were both warrior queens, and it kind of just inspired me just to finally see like I love uplifting Black people, but just seeing a Black woman being lifted up in such a high light, and that she was able to fight for her own kingdom. She was the one who put in the work. It's not some guy who, or she did the work and then some guy is taking the credit for her. It was the fact that she did all the work. She was the one who wanted her kingdom to be saved. That was just so moving and powerful to me. I loved it so much. I think every single year that the course is done, it should always start with African kingdoms because it's just so nice to hear something so refreshing as just Black people were powerful, that they did something enlightening, that they were just people. They did good stuff.
Sorry, I'm gonna get sidetracked real quick back to what my last panelist was saying, Boozy. I don't know, the six of you. Again, we've been talking a lot about different things that you like, that you've been hearing. I'm curious about the queens that you just mentioned real quick. I don't know, do you think, my six panelists, that, let's take the Women Queen, for example, a movie that just came out this year. Do you think that movie, history, books, do you think that means more to you now that you know more of that history that you've been hearing? Does it have more meaning to you than just saying, I'm going to go watch this movie, or I'm going to see this on TV, or I'm going to have this conversation with a friend, a family member? Now that you know this history, I'm just curious. I'm sorry to add another question to the panel. But again, does this mean more to you now that you have this background knowledge, now that you're hearing it, using your Women Queen as an example there, Boozy? You want to take it over?
Yeah.
Go for it, Eric.
Okay. I'll go. I think obviously learning about that stuff is extremely important because like now it gives us the background and the foreground to learn things, and the things that we knew about before, it starts at least for me, it allowed for me to make connections to things I had already learned, right? And it brings a lot of significance, new significance, I guess, to forms of entertainment and media that we see now, and it just brings more meaning to everything that we like interact with in our lives, especially when regarding like African American history.
I know for me personally, when I heard that Woman King was coming out and it had some correlation with what we were learning about African empires like Queen Nzinga and Queen Ada, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to see that movie now. I need to correlate with each other. I need to see, and also even with the new Black Panther movie, there was some correlation in what we were learning. I'm like, yes, I need to see these movies because now I can understand, instead of just watching The Women King or Black Panther like, oh yeah, I am excited that this is Black people being shown and succeeding, but now knowing that it's showing Black people from far, far back from African American empires, it makes me want to watch it so much more. It makes me look in between the fine lines of like their clothes, the songs they're singing, the little things like that they use during Black Panther. That it's just I love seeing Black success basically.
I want to piggyback off of what everyone is saying again. When I heard I didn't know that the Woman King was coming out until I was in class and we were talking about it. Mr. Umetsu was the one who told us that the Woman King was coming out, and we watched the trailer for it, and I loved it. And the second he started telling us that it's talking about the events that we are just literally discussing in class right now, I was already like, okay, I need to see like I can hear information and I can process it, but to just watch it, it makes it more like, I don't know, it connects with me a bit more and I'm able to understand it because I'm a more visual learner. And I told my mom about it. We watched the trailer. We were both just excited. We were enchanted. When we were watching it, we were just so focused and we were so ready to see it. And like I would throw like in little facts to my mom, and I'd be like, "Oh, did you know this is what I learned in African American studies?" And oh, you see that? I told her all of this stuff about that we saw in African American studies, and just telling her and letting her know. And she's like, "Oh, you know a lot." I was like, "Yeah, I learned that." And it was, I don't know, I just loved it. It was nice to know it. And I was like, it wasn't just like me sitting there, oh, this is another thing in African history or something like that. It was like, oh, I know what's going on right now. I know what's happening. And even with Black Panther, it was like, yeah, I know a little bit background information from the first movie, but this is like touching me in a different aspect. This isn't just about seeing a Black man being represented in a nice light. It's more of like the history behind it and what's just the message behind the movie too.
Well, again, I don't want to be taking your time, everyone on this panel. So again, if we have any more questions, which I'm sure there was one more that we need to address, but again, we're ready to answer and we'll keep going whenever, as long as you need us.
No, this is amazing. You've left us kind of speechless. And so this is good. You're educating all of us right now, and we truly appreciate that. I do have a question that I wanted to ask. I'm going to go off script a little bit, so everybody be prepared for this. This will be fun. And we want to know, how has this class changed you? You are the leaders of this pilot program across the country. You're graduating, you're going out into college, into the world. How would you say that this class has changed you? And then to the second part to that is, I have prepped you for it, is how do you think this could benefit other students for their sense of history and identity? If you could answer that.
I'll give them some time to think real quick. So, what do you guys think? Do you want to start? Do you want me to start? No, please, why don't you go? Why don't you take over and then I'll chime in at the end.
So the way this class has changed me, it's definitely given me better insight onto why African Americans and Black people may act out in their lives now. And I don't mean that in a bad way or an outrageous way or anything. It's just how they may react to hearing certain things. And it made me realize more about myself and my history. It helps me understand that we are such an amazing race, really, like such an amazing group of people. And that's just the best way that I can put it. It shows me the hardships that we went through with slavery, Reconstruction, even having our own, I want to throw this fact in, even having our own Black cities such as Oscarville or the Black Wall Street, even just having that and understanding that despite the fact that they were taken away from us and bombed and firebombed, torn down, is that we still built up and that we're still here. Despite all of these years of hate and crime, and even in recent times today, we are still here and we are still standing together. That's really shown me the community that we have. And even just to plug my own college now, I'm going to Clark in August. Which is a historically Black college and university. And that's a topic that we've also learned about briefly. And just, yeah, having this feeling of community, it just makes me so happy and glad that I'm in this class and that I'm here today. And what was that second part of the question? Oh, how can it benefit other people? I think it can benefit younger generations by showing them that we are a community, we're still here for each other, and definitely help students in the classroom, particularly, that your history matters no matter what anybody else has to say about it. Your history matters and you're able to learn about it. It may not be a regular history class like it should be, but it's still here.
My apologies. Yes, congratulations. That is awesome, Talia. Again, I saw someone's hand up. I don't want to make sure you don't lose your thought before I have these guys take over.
It was a mistake, sorry.
Don't be, you're okay. Just making sure that if you didn't need anything, folks, who wants to continue?
So, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
So how is the benefit to you? What do you see as
Oh.
spreadsheet? How has it changed you?
So it's changed me in so many ways. Like I said before at the start of this interview, I said that joining this class has really set in stone my way through the fact that I really want to study history in college. Not only just Black history, but so many other histories of other cultures, other people, and seeing that has changed my way of thinking of mostly everything I know about Africa and African people. My family is from East Africa, Eritrea, and we usually don't look past east. We stay in that area, and we don't really look towards north. We don't look towards south. We don't look to west. But when I grow older, I know I'll have that freedom to just go out and just explore every other culture in Africa that I've always wanted to see. All the things they wear, the music, especially music. I've been playing instruments for 7 years, and I'm such a music nerd. I don't know how else to put it, but I really love music, and understanding other people's music is just such a big thing for me that I cannot wait to do. And for the second part of the question, I believe this course and the going off of this course, it will help lead a new way of thinking when it comes to every other race. So from white people to Hispanic people to Asian people to everybody, it will help the way of not just learning our culture, but appreciating our culture to understand it so that you could do the same thing. That because we're not all free. Not all of races here in America or all of the world is treated equally. So from seeing Black history, from seeing what Black history truly was from this class or from anywhere else, it can help other communities explore, understand what they really want to do, and help guide us to a brighter future when it comes to all history so that we can all connect with each other.
Yeah. And I guess like a way that it changed me, obviously, like I said before, was that I wasn't really into history before, and now like I really enjoy learning about these types of things because it's such an important part of our life, and it also makes me really hopeful that like we'll be able to learn about even other cultures as well on top of just African American history as well. Things like maybe even like Asian American history or even other things like Hispanics, and it makes me really hopeful that those now have a possibility that they're also going to be taught and that other people are going to learn about it as well. And it just, and kind of helping out what he said about like learning about the music. I've also been in music for like 6-7 years as well about there. So I've really been like kind of like a music nerd, especially recently. So that's also why I'm extremely excited to learn about like the next unit because like things like jazz and Renaissance, Harlem Renaissance especially. I'm extremely excited to learn about that because being a music nerd, like, and loving jazz and all those types of things, I wanted to learn about like the history of it and like how it came to be, I guess. Yeah. And I think it's also extremely important that other people learn about this type of stuff because I've always been an advocate for like learning the truth and knowing as much as possible about history to either not repeat the same mistakes or just know what to do to be a better person in general. So I've always been an advocate to like learn as much as possible, especially regarding something as important as this. So I think it's important for everyone to take this class.
For me, this class has changed me because of Black identity. A lot of times in our history classes, we're taught white identity. I want to say like that. And we're just hearing about the struggles of African Americans. Me personally, in this class, I feel like I've only heard success about Black people. And so when it comes to Black identity, it helps me figure out about myself. And me personally, I'm into law. So it ties a lot into African American history, and law ties a lot together. So it intrigued me a lot. And I've changed myself. Like originally, African or Africa was spelled with a K. I start spelling it with a K now. So that changed me. A lot of times when I'm talking about African American people, I started saying my people now, because it's made me so intrigued and so happy to be Black. So yeah.
Anyone?
I feel like this course has changed me, in a way by how I'm more passionate on the way we are addressed as. It's always been seen like, especially in any other history besides African American history, we are never like Black Americans or Black people. It is always slaves, 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 slaves every single time. And in this class, it has taught me that we're so much more than that. We are absolutely so much more than that. And I feel like it's changed me as a way of thinking of the history behind just not even me, but just behind everyone in that classroom, and how united we are, and just how well African American history really is, and how important it really is. And I feel like this course is such a great way to show how, not just how we can show other races and how we can help them, but also just how maybe this can lead it to be like, College Board can maybe have a Hispanic heritage. They could talk about Native Americans, they could talk about the indigenous people, and maybe even they can say, okay, let's give some notes on how US history or how government, any other history class can really change their curriculum and start talking about African Americans and other ethnicities in a much better positive light. Because I know I struggled a lot with like US history, where it was just seen a lot with like very negative talk, but maybe, and then the only time we hear positive talk is during February, and it's kind of seen like, now they can just change it, and it's not always going to be about, okay, let's have a whole unit dedicated to slavery. Let's talk about slavery, but let's talk about it in a different way. Like, what is something else that happened in slavery? What makes it so meaningful, and what makes it so powerful? But I really love this course. It's amazing.
Yes. Going off what Lucy said, yes, I believe that this class is a pathway to having other classes like it. Her bringing up like let's talk about Hispanic history. Let's talk about Indigenous history. And I think that starting with this class, that we can pave a pathway for other history classes like AP African American history. And I think that going into this class, it has changed me, and I have gained so much knowledge about things that I didn't know, or things that I would have never known if I haven't taken this class. And going off what you said about Black identity, I just loved what you said about being united, because I'm African, and so I've like dealt in the past with like, oh, you're not Black, you're African. And so seeing how like this history, like we need to become a community, we need to become united. And I think that this is a great way to show people like we're not different, we go through the same struggles. Look at where we've been and where we've gone. And I think that overall this is a great class, and I think further generations will enjoy it.
Oh, this is inspiring, motivational. Go ahead, keep going. No, keep going.
Oh, okay. So
About
I
2
really
more
wanted to
minutes.
add on again. I had this thought written down, but I for some reason didn't say it. But I love how so far since the beginning of social media, I feel like social media has skyrocketed the support of Black people saying what they want, starting their own businesses, becoming so successful. It's including TikTok, where I don't think that's a good resource to get all your information from, but I do believe it has helped so many people understand so many different things. I used to TikTok also. I used to follow so many Black creators, and I still do. Back in 2020 during the COVID lockdown, and when I would spend a lot of time on TikTok, and I would hear them speak. I would hear them speak, and I would just, I don't know, I would take it all in. I would understand it to a T, and it was just I just felt so passionate about it from there on too, and it just helped me so much. And just, yeah, I think social media will become one of the biggest things to help all communities, not just the Black community, but all communities expand and understand one another, and again appreciate each other's culture.
I'm glad that you said that, Hia, because again, it kind of goes back to my final point that I'm going to make very briefly because I know we need to start wrapping up soon. However, here's what I've learned as an Overland teacher for my 6 panelists here in front of me. Again, this is now going to be my 3rd year teaching here at Overland High School. And what I've come to realize about these 6 wonderful students in front of you is, if you all haven't noticed, they all have a different story to tell. They all have a unique experience that they want to share. Again, that is something I have learned after 10 years of teaching. And again, race is not monolith. What does that mean, everyone who's sitting in front of me? Basically, that means you all have a voice, you all have an identity, and that's what makes us all different. We read and watched a video at the very beginning of the year that resonates with me even to this day by Henry Louis Gates Jr. that said there's 42 million ways to be Black. And that video has stood with me even to this day as I'm sitting here reflecting upon it, looking at you 6 and thinking about, yeah, you all have a different way, a different identity that describes you as an individual. And I'm very glad to hear it. I'm very glad to see that identity flourish. I'm very glad to be a part of it. And Overland is very proud to have you 6 for sure, and many others represent the school. And I am very excited to see, as everyone was saying, the next generation, their own identity, their own growth. So that's what I have noticed being a part of this new curriculum and being the pilot teacher here at Overland High School.
We are honored and overwhelmed and in awe of all of you today. And thank you so much. As we close out, we really just wanted to make sure that you all take a little bit of time to read all of the comments that are going on in the chat. I know that you guys have been very prepared today in speaking and educating us today, but I want to read just a few. The accolades are coming in, and this is all for you today. I wish I had the opportunity to take this class in high school. This is amazing. I'm so glad you all took advantage of this opportunity. I second this as a CCSD alumna. I did not have this opportunity back in the day. I am so thankful this is being taught. Majority of this information is not taught in public education, but only taught in specific classes in graduate school. And if you attend an HBCU, well done to Overland High School. Yes, HBCU bound. You have all been amazing. Let's see. You are also amazing. This gives me hope for the future. I think this is one of our final. I am overwhelmed with complete inspiration and hope for our education system as a result of hearing from this student body. This is a class that needs to be taught all over the U.S. to nothing else, reverse the narrative that has been taught in and outside of school. Thank you so much for sharing your time, and thank you, Professor Umetsu, for teaching this class. So plenty of accolades still coming in right now. As we close out the meeting, take a little bit of time to read all of this. We greatly appreciate you taking your valuable time today and educating and informing all of us. You are truly pioneers and leaders going out in this course, and we are just grateful that you spent your afternoon hour with us this time. Thank you so much. Final question or final comment. Let's see, it's from Adam. You all make me proud. You make me proud to be a CCSD alum and to have worked for the district. Thanks for representing your school and your district and your community so well. So on behalf of Denver International Airport, thank you so much for all of you for today, for celebrating Black history with us today and educating us all about it. Thank you. And Microsoft needs to get a snap emoji.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Selena, I'm gonna stay on for a second with you guys. Uh-oh, did she leave out?
There we go. I'm going to stop the recording.
Perfect.